I mean, Seder. All right. Good morning. We were just finishing Kuf Chaf Dalid. Netzach. It's in Sif Chaf Zayin and up to the Ramah. Interesting din. Ramah writes, Haga Ovi Kachavim Shenaga B'Yinash Yisrael Lahachis. Right. Let's say there's a guy who knows the halacha and he touches Yisrael's wine. Lahachis Yela Osur Alav. Right? Afilu Einan Yoidim Kain, even if the Yisrael doesn't know about it. They have videos. There's some sort of Umdinos Mechichos is video. A horror video would be considered unless it's like posted or something like something can be faked. But they have a security camera or it's. They have different circumstantial evidence, things like that. Mutter afilu b'shtiya. If a goy did it lahachis, it's mutter afilu b'shtiya. Leish lishtoso b'fnei ha'ovik ha'chovim k'dei shel yargilu atzman b'kach. Right? And and therefore the guy did it. You should pour a cup of wine from that barrel and drink it in front of his face to show that what he did was meaningless. So the emphasis is that right. So there's interesting. Kusa Kesef, who he discusses. He says a case where it happened to him. I think it's the son. I think it's the son of the shach, and he spoke to his father. He said the goy did it to show the Yisrael the din, like he knows this halacha. Is that lahachis or not? It's archiyun. You don't know if that's it's not lahachis to asr. It's lahachis to show like, oh yeah, I know what the Jews the halacha of the Jews. I don't know. He wasn't so sure about it. The other interesting the question is also right. So that's the thing is that the Gra says this comes from the din of you can't ask for someone else's thing. It doesn't make a difference. A person can't bedafka ask for someone else's thing. This is a general din. We brought this up at some point that you want to go ahead and bow down to someone's cow. It doesn't ask for the cow. And the other nakuda over here is that he says that a guy who would take it bedafka and do actual nisuch because he wanted to do nisuch, not because he wanted to answer the wine, that would answer it. My question is that I just start with questions. I'm going to get to now. I'm going to get to Hanukkah. So I don't know about Tumat Tahira, but it says that the Yavani went in and they're matame all the shemen. Does that actually work or not? Tumat Tahira, I'm not. Tumat Tahira might be different than this, but I'm not sure. This is Isser. It's just ha'ara, but yeah, if that's a nakuda. Tuf Chaf Hey. Aleph, not all of Kachavim Klisha Yayin, Higbiyoi, Viyotza Hayayin, Achabishlo Sisech, Ne'esar Bishtia. If he picked up a bottle of wine and poured the wine out, Achabishlo in someone else's cup, waiter comes, pours it out, pours in someone's cup, Achabishlo Sisech, Ne'esar Bishtia. That wine is also Bishtia, Sharei Hayayin Bami Koichoy. Because the wine is poured into the cup b'koichai, u'mashenishar b'kli also gamke mishon nitzik. The din of nitzik is nitzik chibur is a klal generally in many halachos where if you're pouring in something, so the question is this it's all connected technically, but the direction of the flow is this way. So can the Isser go back up into the top kli? Shailas by mikvos, by other places. So here we pass me there is a din of nitzok. We saw before nitzok ben nitzok there isn't, but one nitzok kli is aser.
It says Asar, that means Bashtia, not
She said nesa b'shtia. Oh, Hashanisha b'kli aser gam kim. Yeah, it's not aser no. Nishamim delo asriya nitzok b'koach of v'kachavim. There are shitus the whole even matter that nitzok b'koach. The case of nitzuk which would be yaser is if someone was pouring and he stuck his finger into the flow, something like that. So that would be, but just because of koach, we'll answer it. And we come up with yesh lahachmir and lo behefsa meruba. Still, it's better to be machmir than to come on. If he didn't realize he was pouring wine, oh shelo higbia hakli, or he just pushed it over. Called motor hil v'shtia. And the thing about lo higbia kli is a big tool in the achronim. Everyone's basically cholok on the Ramah, and he says, "What's the difference? It's still kocho, right?" Now there is a thing by mikvah, so I do know that it's not considered shuvim if he doesn't pick it up. But koach it is. Everyone's cholok on this nakuda of the Ramah however, bitam kocho wouldn't make a difference.
If they open the refrigerator door, there's a bottle in the door. It's open.
Yeah, so we'll discuss that in a second. We'll discuss that in a second. First, let's discuss there's a shach over here. The shach says that l'chor what the Rama paskins before but nowadays that it's considered lo b'kavana. The question is that applied by kocha or not? That's all they davar acher. The question is it applied by kocha? And the shach says it does. And he says unless there's, you don't need hefsid meruba. He said even hefsid, hefsid mu'at will be mutter. However, l'chachila to hire waiters at a simcha to go ahead to hire a goyim to go ahead and serve wine, you shouldn't do that. That already you shouldn't do. But if a goy came and poured you a cup of wine, then it would be mutter.
Because that's the tana of that cup of wine.
Right, because it's a hefsa katan. Different Acharon talk about the shach, the Tshuva of Moshe, who says that. He says the shach is halacha l'maisa, and it would be mutter b'shtia. If a guy poured you a cup of wine, if it's your wine, whatever it is, if it's kashmonos, then it will be actually mutter b'shtia, because you shouldn't ask the guy to do it. However, he does say that by simchas, he says it's impossible. The issue is also if a guy opens the bottle and shakes it around. This is talking about a case where he picks it up and pours it. But if he would pick it up and shake it, then it's also.
Not from that way from what we just read.
It's not a case of shelo sichsech ne'asar b'shtia. That's because of koach. But if you sichsech, it's definitely also. Now we said that in the last simon. If it's
in other words, if you're pouring it, it shows that you're pouring it for another reason. If you shish it, there's no other reason.
So we're gonna get. I saw that they talked about the discussion. I saw the sefer. Shlomo Miller said that if he takes a bottle of wine out of the fridge, open bottle. We'll get to the open and closed, and it takes it to the fridge. He said that's also sichsuch. Other places give a cholok on that. There's a bit of a chiddush. But sichsuch means it goes like this, right? He shakes it because that's derech nisuch. So therefore, it's also. But if he just picks it up,
Because it's also nisuch.
Yeah.
Wait, so now that comes also ba'ana. Because it's just reading the beginning of this.
Well, that's also ba'ana. According to the Ramah, it's only also b'shtia because it's not because everyone's nechshav shelo b'kavana. But just kocho, that's the shachas v'chadesh. Kocho is also like sichsuch, and also it's what we make on. But sichsuch is definitely aser. So the Ramosha says by simchas, there's no way to have pikuach on the whole thing. It's very difficult. So it's he says you shouldn't he says you shouldn't. He says that would be nechshav, and that what the shach wouldn't apply to, and you shouldn't do that. He also discusses, we mentioned about gloves, the same true of Moshe. If he touches with, because waiters wear gloves. So he says gloves. It's not aldi davar acher. So it's pasha. He says that there's no maga. There's no diri chatzitza here. You can't say there's a chatzitza, so it didn't matter. It's a question of davar acher. He uses a stick or something, or a case in the Gemara was a case in the Shulchan was lulav or whatever. But a glove, he says, is definitely not. It's definitely still answers it. The question is also how far to take this heter of the shach. What about by Chali Shabbos? Okay, Chali Shabbos saw a bunch of dinim throughout. Obviously saw before and was a kufiyut test or the kufiyut test that if he want one place he does he doesn't keep Shabbos, but when he goes from person to keep Shabbos, so then it's not they won't answer his wine. Tinuk shenishba won't be aser. I did see. I think like Rishon writes. It's still, even when you can find all the heterim, but it still does, since the ikar takana of of his chasnus. So again, you don't want your family to be become good friends or whatever with someone who's not a not from family, a reformed family, whatever. All very good. You don't want your it's the same problem. You don't want your kids. It's the spirit of it. You don't want your kids going ahead and and intermarrying, being pulled off the derech, things like that. For kiruv, they say for kiruv, 100% you can be makel, you're bringing someone to kiruv, whatever. But stam, okay, relatives. I don't know if you have non from relatives or close. Anyway, there's what to play with and there's what to be bad here. But they say the person should have his eyes open and realize the time of the gzera is that you should have a harchaka from from certain things, and the person should realize that. I mean, listen, on passages like that, he just says eitz tova. So yeah, with
the wine will definitely not be asavana unless it's touched by the hands of the
right. And even that the Ramah says that it's local kavanas. It wouldn't be also bahana, even though you shouldn't say, but in public. But that's that could be that something you shouldn't say it in public. That everyone should just have people who don't know just okay, it means everything's mutter. Like you have to person know enough. Then you can be makel like a rabbanim, but whatever. Beis koach kocho kekocho dami. So koach kocho, there's no difference. It's considered koach. V'imu koach kocho. However, if it's triple koach, you're going koras hagas shegilgula v'kochavim. Let's say you had a contraption where he's turned the wheel. And that Isham Gimel Koiches Hadapim V'Agalgo V'Hakoyrem. B'Diyevet Mutar Afilu B'Shtia. I'm not sure exactly what the dapim are, but he turns the thing and it pushes this and it pushes the core down. That's already 3 koiches, right? I guess if you had a ton of gears, questions by machines. If he presses the button and the button, if it's a question, there's a whole question of koach, matzahs and things. If it just turns the machine on, is that kocho or not? Discussion. There's definitely room to be makel. Everybody should also has a tshuva about a case with they turn on the machine to get grape color flavoring and things like that, and they dumped all the grapes into a machine, and they turn on the machine presses it whatever. He's still not matter it. He says the only reason it's mutter is the case of his case was that it was still mixed. All the chatzanim and zagim and all the liquid, all the wine, it was cooked all together. It's passed cooked here, cooked there, all together. Only at a certain point, then after it's cooked numerous times, to concentrate, they filter it out. So then already until that point it'll be mutter. But after but if at any point he's still so that could be kocho to the. He says that Betzim is mutter because we're not choshish that the goy is trying to stick his hand in whatever, because everything was cooked. By the time it's cooked, beheter, meaning it's cooked, but it was still can't make yain nesech. So that already he says would be okay. I don't know how the hashkachas, actually paskin it, but just quoting the tshuva. However, right by a machine, l'chora be koach kocho. L'chora be a triple koach because he turns the button and the button then dumps the things, and every time it's pashut. L'chora it's pashut like that. Gimel im koach. Right. Im koach yisrael v'koach ovik kochavim muravim yachad. When sheshneim iru b'yachad, they both poured the barrel. Muter b'diavad. Vafilu im hayaovi kachavim yochel levado laros blosio Yisrael. Yeah, big guy, and the owners will feel look whatever. Still be motive. Who sheh Yisrael Messiah Gadol has to be that he's an adult. Aval im hayanar katan is just a kid. Also, we should have Messiah shein b'mamish. Again, also if it's a very heavy barrel and the guy's is a little mashkiach, it can't. You can't pick anything up. You'll fear Indian, but it could still be something on that. Someone who's bad, is like a kid who's weak is a problem. Daladi they don't use that. I was thinking they don't use that lashon. It's interesting. They use the lashon of tarovas kochos. That the one koch is bevato the other. They don't use there as a gorim. I don't know why. That's not the lashon of the poskim, but I didn't go through all the rishonim, so I don't know. If there's wine, which is flowing out of a chavis, which is on a cart, the soch akuba into like the barrel or whatever. He picks the whole wagon up or the cart up, so the mutter. Then it's mutter because it's flowing anyway. He just wants to make it flow better, so then it's mutter. Also, let's say it's getting to the bottom, like to the end of the barrel. It's stopping. He wants to tilt it up. Then it's also if Yisrael is pouring from one cleat to the other, he shakes the Jew's hand. If the wine was flowing anyway, shari. Vim lav also, if he shakes it, I guess to flow better, then it would be also.
Why is it also should be
No, because then it's he's shaking it. Shaking it is not koach; it's sichsuch. It's different. But it's also a bit of koach. I mean, it's not. If it wasn't pouring. We saw before. If he shakes the Yisrael's hand, it doesn't do it. But here he's pushing his hands. So then the Yisrael is not like he's not putting koach into the. He's trying to shake it to it shakes a little bit. The last little bits out. It's a little bit different. He's unloading the wine. The yotza mikoicho yain lachutz and some splashes out. Shari dahavi shelo bekavana melachta hu osek. He's been melachta. He says nothing. You don't have to worry. If you say if we'll get into it, but just to speak it out over here, that if it's patuach, if the thing is full and it's open, then we're choshesh, that if he's carrying it around, moving it, then maybe wine splash on his hand and come back in and things or whatever, and we're oyster. But we'll see that if it's not filled to the top, even if it's open, we're not here. So here, it was full, so even though some wine came out and it was full, that's okay. He didn't have kavana. But if he wasn't melachto, then we'll see that's. We're mamachmir. Hey, Zarak Evan or Chavitz Tzachayayim Mutter. He threw a stone or something into a thing of wine. It's Mutter Vafilu B'Shtia because it's Shalom Kavana. It's nothing. About Ima Chavitz Misgalgel if it's something rolling. Who Decheu Ad Shenoifil Tzachayayim and he pushes into the wine. Also Afilu Bahana because then it's direct. I guess it's much more. It's much more kavana to right because so they say it's different. If he was zorik bechamaso, so that already it's lo kavana bechla. But if he's pushing, if it's rolling and he gives it a push, then that shows it's bekavana. He wants it to go as koichel bekavana. If also came bechamasa motor, I feel b'shtia. But if he rolled a bit, let's say. I was thinking an example, right? It's I'm not sure, but let's say he's in a car and the guy he's upset at his boss and he drives the car through a thing of wine, right? So would that I thought you should drink it, but whatever. Would that be or they have a working car, whatever it is? Would that be also because would that turn usher? Because is that first of all, I was wondering if that koch kocho by a car pushing the gas is that considered koch rishon or koch sheni? I'm not sure.
It should be the same as the machine.
Machine, right? Well, this is just you push the gas and that opens the thing to flow. You have to think about it more. I don't think it's so pashut and that causes an explosion. It could be it's koch koch. Yeah, koch koch is also. You need to be sure it's gimel kochos over here, and also the case of the chor. So then also the case is that it's rolling, right? The car's rolling, and he docheu, right? And then he pushes the gas and that's like docheu. So then that could be that could be it. If he puts it in neutral, the car is going to roll through anyway. If he just puts it in neutral, the car goes. That'll be the same case as over here. So I don't know. It's rolling anyway. If you roll, it can roll anyway. But he takes the brakes off. I don't know. I'm just bringing up an interesting case. I'm not sure. Vav. Ovi Kocham Shehevi Anovim Besalim with Ardorim Pirish Rashi Gigios Ktanos. He has a bunch of he brings grapes in small barrels or small whatever. The zarkon the gas, and usually he throws into the gas. Yesh yain dorach is already wine, liquid wine in there. Mutter b'di'evid, it's mutter b'di'evid. Avi sheyesh b'dardorim yain shezavi anovim shebehem. Even though the grapes already like leaked, grape juice or whatever, it's still mutter b'di'evid. If you sell misayeh lo avi kachavim mizrikasa lagas mutter filo chachila, that would be okay. Zayin of Ikacham Shazark Mayim Esochayayin. He pours water into wine. Motor Filu B'Shtia. It's motor Vusheinu B'Chavin Lamozgo. That's as long as he's not trying to be mozig to dilute it. To dilute it. Kagon Shazark Mayim Lechavios Gedolos. Olakos Lo Yodo Shuyayin. Like if he didn't know it was wine. B'Chavin Limzoig. Also, if his kavana was to go ahead and to dilute it, but to make it drinkable, it's also b'shtia. Neni yodea im kivin the miziga im lav motor. If you don't know, it's already a sfeika derabbanan lakula. You don't know why he put water in. Then it would be safek derabbanan lakula. Avi kochav iches, avi kochav shemara mikli shebiyad l'kli shebiyad Yisrael. He pours from a kli in his hand to a kli yad Yisrael. Hayayitse also b'shtiyas Yisrael. That which comes out is also b'shtiyas Yisrael. Shamara mikli shebiyad l'kli shebiyad also b'shtiyah. Right. Yisrael shamara mikli b'yad l'kli shebiyad v'kachavim. He pours into the kli of the goy. Mutar afil b'shtiyah. That's mutar b'shtiyah. It's also b'shtiyah because of nitzuk and different things.
What remains in the juice cup.
Right. But the Yisrael Shemar Mekli B'Shibiyad Kli Shibiyad Ovik Kochavim Mutter. We don't say nitzok fil b'shtia. You need neda Ovik Kochavim Akli Nes or Yain, because then we say nitzok. If he shook his kli and that makes the wine in his kli also, then we do say nitzok up to the Yisrael's kli.
But the wine that's in the guy's kli is also.
Well, if he shakes it, until he moves. It just holding it won't be also. Okay, we'll stop here. And we'll continue on Sunday. I don't think we'll do